like, we should be really impressed with the fact that Neymar even played the match yesterday, considering it was his sister's birthday.
The only way that would have been better if like Pep tried to do that arm round him, like talking his ear off.
It's like
Bruno would be like, what? Get off me.
Yeah.
You're not my manager.
Hello and welcome to Football Trending, the show that covers all the biggest topics on the timeline. Today I'm joined by Joe's very own Wayne Farry, Ruben Pinder and Carl Picknell. So after 30 years, Liverpool look like they're going to win the Premier League and potentially lift the trophy in an empty stadium. Do we think that's going to dampen celebrations at all?
I think you said it yourself, it's been 30 years, so ideally, look, they'd love to win the trophy in normal circumstances with full stadium, but Scouse is going to have a party, whatever happens, you know.
Yeah.
It's just going to be madness. All that matters to Liverpool fans is that it's etched on the trophy, Liverpool 1920. They've broken the curse, whatever it is, and yeah, for me, it's same as normal. It matters just as much. You can't suddenly change and think, oh, you know, coronavirus, the world's just gone a bit mad, and now this doesn't mean anything. It's still every bit as important.
But surely, atmosphere-wise, you know, that moment where normally it's whoa,
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same, is it?
I think it would be funny though if you just get like a live stream of Jordan Henderson in an empty stadium and then doing that and then just like loads of heart like bubbles popping up, all that stuff. Yeah, look, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird, but the thing is, in the minds of us and every other football supporter, they've won the league for months now. You know, they've still had this incredible season where, look, yeah, they've been knocked out of the Champions League and the FA Cup, but they went unbeaten for so long, and they had every single match was just like, I can't even imagine what it's like. I mean, that's a Villa fan, so I don't know, but winning every single game like that. Some of them were like late winners. There's one at Villa Parc with Mane, I don't want to talk about, but they've had an incredible ride this season. I don't think the last 9 games or so really taints that at all for me.
It doesn't taint the achievement at all, but it will take the gloss off the celebrations. But like as we saw in the Champions League this week, the fans will, as Carl said, find a way to celebrate anyway. So while they should be taking measures to, you know, make sure, like, ensure that the games are played behind closed doors or like postponed completely or whatever, like it won't stop all the fans getting together and celebrating. They might not have the bus parade, but they'll have like celebrations out in public, so they'll still get to have fun. But yeah, and a trophy being lifted in an empty stadium does feel kind of pointless almost, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
who are you lifting it to? Like,
yeah, I mean, will they play pre-recorded audio of like, you know,
crowd
like,
noises.
you know, this sort of thing? It's going to be really weird. But I mean, this is the kind of situation that we're in now, where people would have thought playing the Champions League quarter-final or a second round tie behind closed doors is weird, and it is. I think the thing is, Liverpool fans, for 30 years, they've not been waiting 30 years for the title, like for their captain to lift the title. They've been waiting 30 years to win the title. Like, that is the thing, and it's still huge. I do feel extraordinarily bad for them that the greatest pandemic the world has seen since like the Spanish flu just happened to come like 2 games before they could have actually lifted the title in front of the fans. Like, it's crap timing. They're still the best team in the country, have been for ages. They just can't defeat the coronavirus, unfortunately.
Are the fans going to still celebrate the same way? Like, do you think you can stop that? Obviously, there won't be a bus, but do you think the fans will still come out? And
I think that unless by that stage there's like an Italy-style thing where it's like you can't go out in public without unless you're going to the shop, you know? And even then, if police stop you, you have to tell them where you're going, how long you'll be out. Unless that's brought in, of course they're going to go. You know what I mean? Like, people have been advised to self-isolate or, you know, to kind of avoid going out, or, yeah, social distance. People are still going to the pub. Like, people seem to assume that, like, oh, you can't catch it in the pub, you know?
the alcohol kills it.
Yeah. So, like, people will definitely still try to congregate. Like we saw last night, after PSG's win, before the game against Dortmund, fans were all together outside, probably in way closer proximity to each other than they would have been if they were in the stadium. Unless you put measures in place to stop fans from congregating directly outside the stadium, then there is no point really.
There's like, in Liverpool, there's just nothing that police could do. Like, if you put a policeman outside every house in the city, they'd still like climb through the window or run out the back.
There's
There's no
point.
stopping them. Liverpool fans, they want it too much.
And if you do, all that would like come of it is a bit of sort of unnecessary aggro, and then you'd get like little violent scraps breaking out, which you don't want. So yeah, they can't stop it. So they definitely will line the streets, but it just won't be official. It's going to be fucking mayhem.
And it's also, they will probably line the streets. That doesn't mean that it's a wise thing to do.
No, it's not. It's not. But you can completely understand why they're going to do it. I would do the same thing.
If all the Premier League has done so far is stop pre-match handshakes, then why should Liverpool fans just like not because
even
there's been no proper measures in the country taken to stop it. So
our response has predictably been collectively pretty bad. But like the handshake thing is ludicrous because while it makes sense to sort of minimise body-to-body contact with other people.
But it's a contact sport.
It's a contact sport. They're climbing all over each other at like at corners, in tackles,
celebrating goals.
They're shaking hands after the game.
They're spitting. They're literally spitting. In proximity of each
That's
other.
very true. Yeah.
It's just bonkers. Like it doesn't help at all.
Now, if the situation became so drastic that they had to finish the Premier League, cancel all games, should Liverpool still be given the trophy?
All right, first of all, they won't be, because unless the 38-game season is played, then they can't do that. I don't know if they would bend the rules in this situation. Should they? I mean, by that logic, they should have been given the trophy when they went 25 points up or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's not like a game of football in your back garden where you're like, all right, we need to go home, you win. Do you know, like, it's an official league. I think they want to win it the proper way.
Dinner's on the table.
Jordan. Vaccines on the table. But like, it's just that. I don't know. I think if it's because if the league, I don't think the league would be cancelled outright.
You can't do that because of the knock-on effect that it would have down the pyramid. If you like just end the season early, then who goes up, who goes down? It's not just about Liverpool winning the league. There's a lot more repercussions.
You can't just freeze things.
No, exactly. So you have to finish the season.
Yeah, or maybe they bring in some kind of legislation where it's like an emergency vote where it's like, all right, this is the amount of games in the season now. Where you finish now is where you finish.
Yeah.
You know? Like in Italy, apparently they're considering 3 different measures. One is to basically leave the teams where they are now. The title is vacated. The teams that are in the European places go up. The teams that are in the relegation places go down. They're considering like no relegation or promotion, or have a playoff for the title and have a playoff for relegation. Now, I'm not sure Liverpool fans would be too keen on a playoff for the title.
That would be really sort of unfair as well, wouldn't it?
It'd be funny.
So new measures that will potentially be brought in, according to the Times, are games behind closed doors until further notice, season ticket holders to get streaming access, and no matches in pubs. What do you make of that?
Seems quite sensible, given the current situation. I wonder whether, I mean, streaming a broadcast of a game being played in an empty stadium is not optimal, but I guess it's like the only thing you can do in that situation. I just wonder whether the clubs are going to refund all those people with tickets as well, because like I know down the pyramid tickets are like 15, 20 quid some places, but if you're paying 70, 80 quid to watch Arsenal at the Emirates and you get an online stream of an empty stadium, it's not the same experience.
No.
So, but the Premier League clubs will be able to, they can afford to do that. But where it will have more drastic effects on football clubs is down the pyramid in Leagues 1 and 2, where clubs heavily rely on gate receipts, and if they have to refund the tickets that they've sold and not have any of the other match day revenue that they get from programmes and food and everything like that, then they could actually be in real trouble.
Watching Villa is painful enough. I don't want to stream matches of us losing 4-0 in an empty stadium, to be honest with you. I just think cancel the games rather than playing behind closed doors.
Or postpone them.
Well, postpone them.
Because the season has to finish at some point, as we just said.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that the season... I mean, it's good that they're giving season ticket holders and ticket holders to the individual games streaming access, but there has to be, to actually, like, appease fans to an extent, like you were saying, you wouldn't pay the equivalent of like £1 a minute to watch a game, like some kind of football hotline or whatever. Like, you wouldn't do that. So I think that clubs need to come up with some sort of measure whereby the fans who miss out on the games, season ticket holders who miss out on the games, or however many games are behind closed doors, they get that amount discounted off their next season ticket.
Yeah, something like
whenever that may be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's I think how it would work and how you could kind of make people go. Well, they're gonna have to go along with it anyway if that does happen. But to kind of make them feel a little less bad about it.
The no matches in pubs thing is interesting. I don't know how well that'll work. Like people are still going to go to pubs. And there's only like, you know, however many, 4, sometimes 5 televised games per weekend. And obviously some people do go to the pub just to watch football, but are they going to be any less full just because there's no football on?
I mean, all of this is kind of like, it is symptomatic of the scatterbrain response in the UK at the moment, where football authorities, because they are like regular congregations of people, the football authorities are like, okay, let's postpone games, let's play them behind closed doors, all this. But that doesn't work. Behind closed doors games don't work without people also staying at home.
Yeah.
Like there's no point in having like 50,000 people outside the stadium. You know, not having games in pubs doesn't work if you still have people going to the pubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the football that's you know, there needs to be like actual cooperation, you know, because you know there's no point in. Yeah, I mean it's just a bit messy.
It does kind of make sense though. I think like the footballing world collectively is doing maybe here not quite enough, but like the response has been quite logical so far. It's just relying on like sort of other sectors of society to ensure that, like, what can football do other than like
tell people to stay away.
Yeah, as we've established, the season has to be finished at some point, so they can postpone games, but they're still going to have to be played.
Yeah.
So by keeping the fans out of the stadium, it's then up to the fans and, like, you know, other health organisations to ensure that people don't go out and join, like, congregating 40,000 groups.
Yeah.
I mean, authorities, I think, are scared of how football fans will react, but I think most will be reasonable and level-headed about this. Like, people are dying. You know, I think we can all agree that football's not the most important thing at this point. You know.
Yeah, we should establish that it's the most important of the least important things, but ultimately it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that it's all very uncertain at the moment, but one thing that is certain is Bruno Fernandes' impact at United.
Well, it's like,
is he the best signing since Van Persie?
yes.
Yeah, probably.
I think he is.
I don't think he is.
You don't think he is, Carl?
No, I don't think he is.
Why?
Because people everyone's going to disagree with me here, but it has been 5 league games, and I will say he's been very good, and he's shown, you know, like a real impressive level of performance even so far, and he's been a breath of fresh air for United. But I don't think he's the best signing. I don't think you can say he's the best signing after 5 games, because this happened with Angel Di Maria in 2014.
He didn't start this well.
He did. He scored 3 goals and 3 assists in his first 5 games. He got Player of the Month in September.
Right, fair enough.
And also, I'd argue that Angel Di Maria should have been the best signing United had made in however many years, because he's that level of player. He's one of the best midfielders in Europe, and he has been for you know, a decade. But he got a hamstring injury. I think when he returned, Louis van Gaal, it wasn't going that well at United, and he was kind of let down by the club, in my opinion.
He had personal problems as well, weren't they, like burgled? And
He had difficulty settling in. I will say Bruno Fernandes is very good, but yeah, let's just calm down a bit.
Okay.
All right, so sorry, go on.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that Bruno Fernandes is a better player than Angel Di Maria, you know, but I think in terms of impact and in terms of immediate influence on the club, I can't remember as influential a signing and as instant an impact as Fernandes since Van Persie. Like, Van Persie came in to win a league, and he did it. Like, some people could say, maybe rightly, that there were other signings that probably should have been made alongside him, and that if they had been made, United wouldn't be currently going through this mire that they are, but that's neither here nor there. Fernandes has come into a team that has been low on confidence for a long, long time, a team that I sort of had resigned myself to thinking that any signings that we make are going to be crap, even if they're good players, because for the last couple of years we've signed players and they've been caught up in a toxic kind of environment where the manager is at war with the board, or the players don't like the manager, or the fans are unhappy with everyone, and it's just really, really hard to prosper and to excel in that sort of environment. And now it's not been quite as, barring the whole fans going to Ed Woodward's house, but that kind of feels, the fans seem to have forgotten about Ed Woodward now. But he came into a club that was like a bit of a shit show, and for him to be able to lift the level of his teammates, I think is really, really impressive. Yeah, I think he's just been fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like completely unfazed by the expectation that comes with playing for Man United, because like so many players, like I wrote a piece in the summer that was ranking all of their signings since Ferguson, and so few of them could be considered good signings, despite, as Wayne said, them being good players. Like Memphis came in and didn't do well, left, did well, and so many players followed the same pattern. But he's come in and he just looks so confident on the ball, and it's almost like he's gone in and just reminded the United squad that they're not actually crap, and that they can play good football, and if they follow his lead, then they will. You see it whenever he receives the ball, his first touch is often a pass, and he just makes their attacks go so much quicker, and that positivity is spread throughout the team, and that's why they're playing so much better than they were before he arrived.
Definitely, and I think one thing you saw, especially the example was in the City game, is that for a long time, United players haven't been doing it, but he's and as it comes with the confidence, he's willing to try things. Like United for so long have just been like, pass, to centre, pass to the back, pass to centre. It's just this really slow, painfully methodical, not even methodical, just painfully slow football, where if they want to go from one wing to the other, it has to go through 4 players who aren't really comfortable with the pass. He'll just ping it over there. The little lob over the City wall for Martial's goal against City, would any of those other United players have tried that? And would they? It's one thing actually having the confidence to try something, it's another thing having the ability and the technique to do it.
It's the sort of thing that Pogba would have done sort of a year or two ago.
Yeah. But he's greeted with groans every time he does, isn't he?
Do you know what I think this is? It's because when he was at Sporting Lisbon, that club has been an absolute mess for a number of years. And it's almost like he's seen everything. From supporters, from the club's president,
supporters invaded the training ground,
changed the training ground and had to fight and, physically attack the players. Like, he has seen it all. So it's like he's come to Old Trafford and some players think, oh, what's going on here, this place, I can't deal with it. He's like, yeah, whatever, fine, give me the ball.
Yeah, this is true, actually.
And he's just there to play.
Because Sporting did the same thing on the pitch where it was like, give Bruno the ball, and he scored so many goals for them over the past...
20 goals last season in the league, which is ridiculous. That's like, we haven't seen that in the Premier League since...
Lampard.
Since Lampard. I think he can replicate that in England. I mean, that'd be incredible.
Having not seen him, I don't think any of us, even if we did see him for a full 90, not with any regularity, when he was playing in Portugal, I don't quite know what to expect, because a lot of players do well in Portugal and don't necessarily adapt. It doesn't make them bad players, but he's just straight away from his first appearance just looked head and shoulders above like the rest of the United team. And it helps that he's playing with a lot of freedom tactically, like against City when they played the sort of hybrid back 3 system where he was basically playing behind 2 wide strikers and could go wherever he wanted. That helps a lot.
He definitely doesn't seem to be lacking confidence. What do we think about him shushing Pep?
It's funny.
You think he's funny? Is it
glorious?
I think that people don't really... A lot of people don't give enough space or time or credit in football to things that are just funny. And because Pep is like... Especially now because City aren't doing particularly well in the Premier League.
By their own standards.
Pep he can be a very serious man, and I think...
More than you know.
More than you know. So I think him just shushing him, and I think the best thing for me was the little... relax, come on, what's wrong with you? Calm down.
I want to know what Pep said, but either way, it's great. And it shows that he's already, feeling really good. At United, he's not there's no shyness about being at a new club. He's just this is fucking this is my stadium now, man.
You're going to shush anyone. Pep Guardiola. You might as well shush the biggest guy there is.
And because too, Pep was probably fuming afterwards.
Absolutely raging.
This is a manager who comes onto the pitch and tries to give advice to opposition players, and he's shushed by this guy. Oh, he'd be pulling out his hair.
That's the only way that would have been better if Pep tried to do that arm round him, just talking his ear off.
He's
Bruno would be like, what? Get off me. You're not my manager.
He has made a massive impact for United. Do you think it's come too late though? Can he turn United season round? Can they finish top 4?
No, I think he's come at the perfect time. I think now I'd back them to finish the top 4 the way they played recently, especially against City. I think it's Ideally, it would have been the summer, but come on, this is Ed Woodward. We can't expect too much from him.
And can they finish top 4? Probably, because Leicester have gone on a...
United are 5 points behind Leicester. Leicester have a game in hand. But,
right, but looking at form and everything, I'd expect... I know Leicester smashed Villa, but...
Also, let's not forget, if United finished 5th, they could, with City, you know, I mean, if City's appeal isn't successful, United will get.
There's just so many things up in the air. This City's ban, whether it gets deferred, whether the season
finishes,
this is how many games get played. But yeah, I think if everything goes more or less to plan, then United can definitely finish top 4.
I think they'll finish at least 5th. And we have to assume at this point that the City ban will be upheld.
Yeah.
Even Igalo has been a really good signing. Like I know. I mean, I mocked it incessantly.
Yeah, you did.
I mean,
me too.
He's
coming. He's done a job. To be fair,
he's doing something that they've been missing since they sold Lukaku, which is having somebody to kind of receive the ball to their feet, hold on to it, and just bring someone else into play. Because Rashford and Martial are not that type of player.
No.
So while he's not amazing, he's not as good as Lukaku. He won't score as many goals. He's already started scoring, so that's that out the way. It's not going to become one of those things where it's like 10 games without a goal. He's never actually going to get one. Yeah. That starts playing on a striker's mind.
Yeah.
He's already scored a couple of goals. He's like his cameo against City. Am I right in saying he received a drop kick very close to the end of the game, just held the ball up really well, shrugged off defender, brought somebody else into play.
Yeah, that's where McTominay's goal came from. Yeah,
right, and that's all he's been brought in to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we mocked it at the time because it is kind of indicative of a club that doesn't quite know what they want. Yeah. But it's worked out pretty well.
The one thing I hope is that Bruno Fernandes will bring the best out of Pogba when Pogba returns.
Yeah.
I think in my head now I kind of see Pogba and Fred as like a midfield two and Bruno just in front of them, and I could see that working really well. Actually.
What about McTominay?
He doesn't.
No.
I think Fred's been really good.
Yeah.
Fred has been brilliant, and him, Pogba and Bruno are United's 3 most talented midfielders.
Yeah, really balanced as well.
But I'm not sure Pogba's ever going to play for United again.
I mean, I agree with Kyle. I think that the prospect of that midfield is, you know what I mean? It is, mamma mia. I think it'd just be interesting to see from a kind of how the players react point of view, because Pogba is he was the prodigal son returning. He's the most expensive signing in the club's history. The people assumed, oh, he's going to be the leader now. But not all, just because you're an expensive player doesn't mean you're a leader. And Fernandes, who I wasn't expecting really to be a kind of leader type, has stepped into that role quite comfortably, and you can see that he's the one sort of pulling the strings. So that might actually free up Pogba to just play the way he did at Juve to an extent.
Takes a bit of attention off him, doesn't it?
Takes a bit, because in that Juve team, people always go on about, oh, he had Vidal, he had Pirlo, and all this sort of stuff, But they took they kind of took the pressure off a little bit, where it's if you've got a team of really, really good players, or even a midfield of really, really good players, it's not all on you to run from the edge of your box through, people, and also to other teams will be focusing on Fernandes too.
Yeah, so often he was expected to be the sort of mental leader, the creative player, and a goal scorer, and he was the only one. So he would get the ball in spaces when he shouldn't have it because he was expected to do everything.
Yeah.
And hopefully now maybe that won't be the case, which will benefit everyone.
I do think everyone has forgotten how good Paul Pogba is.
He's phenomenal
on his day.
I don't care who he's playing for this season. He's going to be back, and he's going to be the best midfielder in the world.
So the other night, PSG mocked Erling Haaland's meditation celebration. Do you think that was poor taste?
Extremely poor taste. I think people don't like PSG anyway. Now they're just they're the most embarrassing team around. I get it. Fair enough. I think Neymar did it after he scored. And it's once. Okay, fair enough. It's
that's kind of 1-1, isn't it?
But they did it after the game on the pitch, and then Mbappe was doing it on Snapchat
in the changing rooms.
He's 19 years old, and he's can we just talk about how mental their celebrations were, considering this is the first time since 2016 they've got to the quarterfinals and they're celebrating like that. It's you're PSG. You spent £800 billion in the last year. How are you this excited about finally getting to the quarterfinals? It's your mentality is so small.
Is this not where someone from the club should be stepping in and being guys, look, let's
I don't think it's that much. I don't think
Thomas Tuchel
because I think
probably have said something, but he has no power to.
No, this is the thing. Like Neymar is the manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I mean, and he's a baby. Like, we should be really impressed with the fact that Neymar even played the match yesterday, considering it was his sister's birthday. I did see that apparently Haaland had posted something on Instagram saying, "This is my city," referring to Paris. But nonetheless, right? What does it say about a team like PSG that your siege mentality is this 19-year-old posted something on Instagram about us?
Yeah.
Like their mindset is spectacularly weak. Like I think it's probably a symptom of everyone hating you. The only thing, like basically winning a league that even you don't really care about, and the only thing you want being the Champions League is something that you're like, you seem to be allergic to doing, do you know? And what made, I mean, I kind of liked it because, and we were all talking about it, I liked it because you just know it's going to come back and bite them in the arse at the first chance that they get to fuck it up. Because they will fuck it up.
Yeah.
They don't get unlucky in Champions League in Champions League games in the knockout phase. They mess it up. And they're going to do something stupid, and everyone's going to laugh at them, and I'm going to laugh.
They're going to get pumped in the next round, regardless of who they play. I think Leipzig would tear through them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Atalanta would probably tear through them.
I think they'll tear through themselves. I don't think it matters who they face.
I want to see Josip Ilicic score 6 goals and do that after every single one.
Absolutely,
after every single one.
In an empty stadium.
In an empty stadium.
In an empty stadium, while all of us cheer at the television.
Speaking of PSG celebrations, though, not only that was like ill-advised and in poor taste. After the match, all the PSG ultras and more fans were outside the stadium with flares, like celebrating. And there was a few of them. Like there was a nice picture of Di Maria in the stadium, looking down, sort of celebrating,
like an emperor.
Yeah, that was cool. And then Layvin Kurzawa decided to go down and join the fans.
Yeah. Far be it from Layvin Kurzawa to make a decision without thinking about it.
I know. I mean, he's an idiot on the pitch. He's apparently an idiot off it as well. Like, I just can't get my head around it. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
That is the sort of thing where a member of the club should be like, what the fuck are you playing? You know?
Good excuse not to pick him, though, just make himself isolate.
Yeah, very, very true, yeah.
He just wants 2 weeks off, I think.
Probably.
Kurzawa.
Yeah.
One Bernat scored, he knows he's not getting his place.
Yeah, true that.
So that's it from us here at Football Trending. Big thanks to Wayne Farry, Ruben Pinder and Carl Picknell. Join us next week for more Football Trending.